Senator Risa Hontiveros is calling for the protection of community pantry organizers amid issues of supposed red tagging. And Senator Hontiveros joins us now live via Zoom. Good morning, Senator. So glad that you could join us today.
Thanks so much for inviting me, Ria. Good morning also.
Ma'am, you issued a resolution condemning the alleged harassment, red tagging, and intimidation of pantry organizers. Can you tell us what exactly is in that resolution?
There are mainly two calls, Ria. The first is, and this is Senate Resolution 705, urging the Senate to officially on record condemn these acts of harassment, red tagging, and intimidation, especially by government officials and law enforcement authorities against civic-minded citizens who are conducting community pantries. And secondly, calling on the executive to provide protection or to protect and uphold the rights of these community pantry organizers who are actually providing an indispensable service to our people in these difficult times.
Senator, can we ask for your reaction to General Parlade's statement that defunding the NTF-LCAC is unfair and it's stupid because it was the senators themselves who signed this, and that their funds may actually affect programs to help communities?
Ay, Ria, the general is again trying to school the Senate, but I'm sorry, he's the one who is mistaken here. He can argue that any proposed move is fair or unfair. That's a fair debate. But to call the Senate stupid, the general forgets that we not only passed the budget, but we also have oversight functions over its proper or improper use. At itong ginagawa nila na pagre-red tag sa nagko-community pantry, sa nagpupuno ng kakulangan ng gobyerno sa ayuda, sa nagpupuno sa gutom ng isa't isa, no, ng mga magkakababayan. Yan ay isang maling-maling paggamit ng pondo. The Senate, the whole Congress funds government programs. It never intends to fund this kind of harassment and intimidation against citizens who are actually showing one of the best expressions of the Pinoy spirit of bayanihan in the last couple of years of this terrible pandemic. So I don't know who's schooling whom. It's not the Senate being schooled on this issue, Ria.
Right. Senator, lastly, three options have been put forth. Either NTF-LCAC gets defunded, the airing officials within that organization are fired, or you abolish it altogether, right? So what's the Senate's next move here?
Well, any or all of those, Ria. If there are moves to fire misbehaving and offensive members of that task force, I won't stand in the way of such moves. Defunding the national task force, dinibate na namin yun sa minority since last year. But I think most fair of all, speaking of fairness, would be to dismantle the task force itself. Kasi yung kanilang mga di umano counterinsurgency programs are already established mandates of various departments and agencies of government. Yung pagiging interagency nila, matagal na yung convergence and coordination among those different executive bodies. So I think the fairest of all, not just to give justice to those who've been offended by this most recent offense, but also to put more sense, no, into government programs regarding not just disaster or pandemic response and recession response, but also truly addressing the roots of conflict in our society. Best of all, simply defund that task force that should not have been organized in the first place.
All right, before I let you go, Senator, do you have any advice to give community pantry organizers at this time?
I'm so sorry. Advice to? The organizers of community pantries.
Yeah.
Patuloy po. We stand fully with you. We in the Senate will do everything we can to protect and uphold your rights, our rights, especially those that have to do with developing a participatory democracy. At itong ginagawa po ninyo, yung pagpapakain sa isa't isa sa ating mga kababayan, that is a beautiful example, really, of a true kind of people power. So ipagpatuloy nyo lamang po iyon at mabuhay po kayo.
All right. Thank you for that, Senator Risa Hontiveros, and thank you for making New Day part of your morning.